it seemed to be that you were dealing with like ocular migraine, which I've seen a lot of times. People will come in and they'll say they deal with them a lot, and they notice that they have headaches in certain areas of their head, and it's kind of like a compounding thing. Some cases it's a bigger neurological thing, but based on the symptoms you gave me, I think you were just an ocular migraine. So good news.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to part 2 of the Visionary podcast, season 3 anniversary episode. Last week, we had the chance to introduce the state of the eye study that we're doing. If you have not taken the survey yet, please take the survey. It should only be a few minutes. And, we are so excited to be able to share those results with you and involve you in the process of really us increasing representation and addressing some of the challenges that we find with eye health in underserved and marginalized communities. Now, when we started season 2, we made a promise.
Yeah.
You're laughing because I know you didn't keep your promise.
Listen.
We made a promise, and you see that I'm sporting my Lose today comfortably. We made a promise that we would get our eyes checked. It's been 2 years. So I'm going to start with you, brother, Karl, Vice President, Director of Optical Operations.
Yes, continue.
Person on the eye health side of NuriLens.
Yes. Did I get my eyes checked?
Don't try to finesse the system, because I know
Did I get my eyes checked? Is that the question? Ask the question. Ask the question.
Don't try to finesse.
Ask the question.
Did you get your eyes checked in 2023?
Technically, no. But, okay, so hear me out, okay? This is my excuse, and this is my story. I'm sticking to it. I mean, realistically, I work at a clinic. I see doctors all the time. So, like, every now and then, we got to, like, teach a new technician or a new employee and some equipment. And, you'll be like a test dummy. And that's how I found out initially that I was suffering from dry eye, because I was on a LipidView machine, and they were like, "Oh, Karl, your oil levels, your lipid levels on your eye, on your cornea, they're a little low. It's a little concerning." So have I been checked after that? No, not at all. But I'm aware of the issue, and we're working to be better. 2024 is on its way. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna bring some, what do they call it? New year, new me, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put that on the list of things that I'm going to try to get done. All right. We're optimists on this side.
Not to reach through this.
All right. So, Juliette, you can gloat now if you'd like to about, I got my eyes checked. Congrats. I mean, you need to. Also, wait, before you go, my vision, I have 2010 vision. Okay. 2010, better than 2020. Okay. So, like, Juliette has to go see the doctor, because if she don't, she's not going to be able to see her screen. She's not going to be able to read her phone. She's not even going to be able to see how many fingers she got on her hand, okay? So she has to go to the eye doctor. Me, on the other hand, I got some time, all right? So before my vision starts deteriorating, like, I'm going to, all right, that's all I got. Go ahead.
Gentlemen, this is the person responsible for the optical side of NuriLens.
I will also say,
I just want us to sit in this silence.
I'm also going to say, I'm so committed to making sure your prescriptions get handled, your glasses get sent to you on time, that I'm not even taking the time.
Not have time to go get your eyes checked.
Go get my eyes checked. You see what I'm saying? I'm so committed to you visionaries. I'm so committed that I'm putting your eyes over mine. Okay. So think about it that way. All right. That's all I got. I'm done.
Karl, they sent you to use up the vision and dental that you get every year to get your eyes checked. That's what they sent you for. They did not send you to be a test dummy at work to find out that you had dry eye. That's not what they sent you for. That was not what we agreed on January 1st. So
It's
now
crazy.
we're going to move
It's
to
crazy because my vision plan is amazing too. I don't even use it.
past that because if I go to the eye doctor right now, thank God for Nuri Lens. Thank God for Nuri Lens. But if I go, I remember prior to Nuri Lens launching, I went to the eye doctor. I can't say the eye doctor, but I went to the eye doctor and I said, listen, I love this pair. And they said, no, we wouldn't recommend this pair. I'm like, why wouldn't you recommend it? Well, because your prescription is so strong and whatever. And I didn't understand what he was telling me. I'm like, okay, can you make it fit? And he's like, oh, yeah, sure. We can make the lens thinner. So I'm like, okay. And then I get to my bill and it comes to like, I think the price was like $562.
Yeah.
And I was like, did you take my insurance out? Yeah, we took out the amount for your frame and for your lens. I said, and it's still $562. And
Yes.
I remember like swiping my Care credit card and then turning around and saying, no, we're going to give this back because there is no way I'm spending $500+ just for me to get a good pair of lenses for me to at least see properly in a way that is not going to damage my eyes.
You know what's crazy too also is like you are now paying a price dependent on how bad your vision is, which doesn't like that's how wild the system is. Like I don't think people realize that, right? Like you are paying based on like the person who needs the glasses the most, the person with the -10 diopter sphere, they need those glasses. The astigmatism is a -4.
It's like when Black women go to the hair shop,
the
thicker your hair, the more they charge you.
Like imagine they did that every like I don't know. That's actually crazy. That's actually crazy.
Now that I think about it.
That's actually crazy. Yeah, like when you really like look at it, it's like, man, the worse your prescription is, the worse, the more you need them. So we're gonna just tax on this extra $400 for no reason.
And you know what's interesting too?
Because
I've had customers who are like, oh, I have a strong prescription. And I'm like, yeah, so we have high index lenses if you have a strong prescription like myself. And they're like, no, I have a really strong prescription. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, no, but I have a really strong prescription. Do you have something for a really strong prescription? And I'm like,
we have the industry like standard highest index that you can have, like standard across the board. Like this is not like a premium that we're like, oh, you got to pay this additional cost. No, this is standard across the board. So whatever your prescription is, you're getting super high index frames, right? And to your point, like people are so traumatized from their other experiences that when they come and they're like, I've had a customer come with her friends, right? They all looking at the glasses, right? I'm like, oh, come on up, try a pair. She's like, they're beautiful. My prescription's too high though. I'm like, I promise you it's not. Try a pair. She's like, no. I have a -6 diopter, and then this one has a astigmatism, so you guys won't be able to handle that. I'm like, no. That's not a problem. Like we cover all of that, all the bases. If anything, we're the only ones that do that. So, but you know, people have just so traumatized. Like to your point, you went to the eye doctor and they were like, oh yeah, you can't get these frames. You have to get something else. So
yeah. And again, thankfully we have Nuri Lens, and I think that's what informed how I stepped forward, right? Because I'm like, how do I ensure that our standard of quality is a good lens? If you have a non-prescription frame, if you have a non-prescription lens, it doesn't matter. You should be able to have access to blue light blocking lenses. You should have that UV protection, et cetera, and similar to a prescription or a pair of readers. So in conclusion, Karl failed. He did not keep his promise. Now I want you to ask me. I'm ready. I want you to ask me if I kept my promise.
Did you go to the eye doctor this year, Juliette?
What do you think?
It looks like you did.
I did. And I have the receipts. The receipts. I went to the eye doctor. I will tell you, I was so excited because I'm like, I have eye health professionals on my team, so don't think you're gonna tell me anything that is gonna make me like go crazy. I'm coming with all the questions. And I did. I came and I learned a lot. I think once you're in it, and as we said before, like once you're in the field and you're I'm not in the field, but technically I have some association with the field. But once, of course, with all the research that we've been doing and really looking at how we can improve the customer experience, especially as it relates to how we look at our prescriptions and lenses, I came with lots of questions. And
Yeah, honestly.
the optician took me through some of their different machines, which was very cool to see again, but again, from a different perspective. I will tell you this, that one machine that blows air into your eye,
Yeah.
That is absolutely disrespectful. Whoever invented it, y'all really find another way to check my eye pressure?
Machine. That's a machine, yeah, to measure the pressure in your eyes. There's a newer technique that they use, which requires numbing drops and a tunnel pen, which like taps your eye. It's a lot better, I promise you. You don't feel anything. You kind of just see it. You kind of just see it coming close to your eye. You don't feel anything at all.
So I'm sorry. In season 2,
yeah,
we were injecting
needles. Yes, needles
needles
into
in people's eye.
into the vitreous body of the eye.
We're tapping little hammers on people's eyes.
Okay.
It's a hammer at this point.
No.
If you're tapping something, what are you tapping, a pencil?
I should have a tunnel pen here actually, but for reference, okay, because I understand what you're saying.
This is exactly why you didn't go to the eye doctor, because you didn't want them tapping no hammers, no little tiny little hammers on your eyeball.
Vaccine injections that we were referring to for macular degeneration are a lot worse than using a tunnel pen on your eyes. Juliette, I've done it on children 1,000 times. It's literally. Well, I'm not telling you to do this if you're an eye professional, but this is what I do. Hey, we're gonna give you some numbing drops. I'm gonna get really close to your eyes. Don't worry, I'm not gonna touch you, right?
But you are.
Oh, I 100% am. Yes, I am. I lied. Yeah, because once you tell someone I'm gonna touch your eye, now they're fighting you. So basically, you have to hold their eye open, hold their lids open. It's like a pen, and it's just like beep, 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 beep. That's it. And then you go to the other eye, beep, 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 and then it gets the intraocular pressure, which is important because if your pressure is too high, it can be indicative of glaucoma. You could have a pressure spike. You may need an injection to remove some of the fluid.
I'm sorry. Listen, we just got here. We just got to season 3. Okay. We just got to season 3. Now we need injections to remove fluid.
If your pressure is like really high, yeah, that's a solution. They have some drops as well that can help reduce the pressure, but if it's like too high, you can essentially like lose your vision. So you don't want that to happen.
And to think I spent 2 years and didn't go to the eye doctor.
Yeah, but your pressure is probably not too high.
My pressure is quite well. Thank you very much.
What it was?
No, I don't know. They just said it was good.
You gotta ask. You gotta ask.
They didn't say it was bad. I'm assuming that it's quite well.
You can't trust these people. Ask them. Get the numbers next time, okay? You want something between like 10 and 15, all right? If they tell you 30, Juliette, it's a wrap.
No, because that's where people are trying to inject my eyes to get fluids out my eyes. And
you want the injection? I promise you.
I'll take the little puff. I take it back. Give me the puff, please.
No, but if you do the puff and they find out the number's too high, still you're gonna need an injection. It's not gonna change anything. It's the same test. It's just to find the pressure. So like,
this is extremely stressful. Speaking about this.
Listen, the more you know, sometimes it's not good, but.
So on to say, yes, I kept my promise, and I am currently in a new pair of blues with my new prescription, and I feel amazing. Karl is not wearing a new pair of Elwood Cities. He's wearing a non-prescription pair of Elwood Cities, and I want everyone to know that because he went and got one of the optical techs in training to do a dummy exam on him so he can find out he has dry eye.
Also, I don't need new glasses because these glasses have no prescription.
The agreement was that we would all go, all collectively, two of us.
Okay. So also, if you've worked for all the listeners that have worked in the eye health field, okay, you know what the chart says. Like, I've seen the Snellen chart, I've seen the Riker chart, I've seen the Marco chart. Okay, I know, I've memorized it. Okay, so you know when you sit in that chair and they show you those letters, Juliette. Okay, right, and they check your vision, they check your visual acuity. I've done that so many times that they can't check my vision.
You just recite it.
FZBDE, APEOTF. I know, Julia, I'm telling you. OFLCT, like that's 2030. I know all the lines, Juliette. Okay, there's really nothing they can do for me at this point. Okay, like it's like my vision's good or it's not. Like that's.
So can I tell you like a small story? It might be funny, it might not be. So when I went to get my permit, right?
Yeah.
My father went with me. Here's my dad trying to work the system. Hey, daddy, trying to work the system. And he said, listen, I know you wear glasses. So you're going to pull up to the desk with no glasses on. And you're going to step forward really quick and read all the letters on the sheet, whatever you're reciting, and then step back. So when they tell you to read them, you already have them in your head and you can recite them. Except I'm standing behind the desk and the lady says, can you recite the letters on the paper on the wall behind me? I couldn't even see the paper on the wall behind. I was like, paper? What letters? What letters? And she said, the one on the wall behind me. I said, I don't see no letters.
Yeah.
And she said, okay. And my dad looked at me and handed me my glasses and I put them on and I was like, oh, and I read them off. It was the look of disappointment, like, girl, I told you. But how was I? I didn't know. I didn't have the slightest clue. I didn't even see that there were letters on a wall on a paper.
Yeah. So let me tell you a story. There was a time I was teching at this office and an older lady, she came in for her eye exam because she had to get her vision checked because there's a point in your age, right? Like you got to get your vision checked to keep driving, right?
Yep.
So scanned her prescription, right? I scanned her glasses on a lensometer. It's high, right? I check her vision on the auto refracting machine. It's bad, right? Like realistically, she shouldn't really be on the streets, right? But I was feeling the room like she was there with her daughter, and I could tell her daughter wanted to like keep her on the street because she didn't want to have to drive her around or anything like that, right? So I put her into the exam room where we're gonna do her check her vision, like on the chart, right? And then I had to go do something else. I don't know what it was, but then when I get back, right, she reading lines. I know she can't read. I'm like, okay, so something happened here. And the newer screens, they have ways that you can scramble the letters, but this was one of those ones that it was like stock, right? So I couldn't really I couldn't really even change it, right? So she reading these lines, Juliette, and I'm like, this is kind of phony. Like,
memorize them.
Yeah, well, her daughter, when I left the room, her daughter had been telling her the letters so that she could, yes. So what I ended up having to do was, which I felt so bad, like, I was like, oh yeah, the computer in this room's not working. We got to go to another room. And then I walked her into that room. She couldn't read nothing. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Maybe she's like, maybe it's the lighting in here. I'm like, yeah, maybe, right? Like,
it's us really trying to work the system.
Yeah, but realistically, like,
to apologize.
She didn't need to be on the street. Like, you probably, she didn't need to be on the street. You could drive.
Well, to be fair, they put it on your driver's license that you are not allowed to drive without glasses. So I think in some states, and I was told this, I don't know if it's true, but I have heard that in some states you could even get arrested driving without your eyeglasses on because it's an extreme hazard.
Yeah.
So if you get pulled over and you drive without your glasses, I would imagine that it's like driving drunk at this point because you really can't see.
It can be worse, honestly.
Yeah, you
Um,
really, really can't see. You can't see the
yeah,
lines. You can't see the signs. I think I know for myself, technically, I don't read that many signs, if that makes sense. I kind of memorize them in my head.
that's
So even
crazy.
if my prescription, even if my prescription starts to go low, I can see the signs,
Yeah.
but I still know where to go. It's all in my head.
Okay.
Uh, but Carl is concerned. I can still see. I want you to understand that I can still see. And I can see better now that I have my new glasses. Now that I've gone to the eye doctor, something that you didn't do. And I really hope you feel bad about yourself because you broke your promise. And in on January 1st, when we have our new year, new vision episode,
Uh-huh.
don't be talking about, oh, I'm gonna get my eyes checked.
That's gonna be my New Year's resolution, 2 years
Don't
in a
do that.
row.
Don't
We're
do
making
that.
a streak out of it. It's only right.
Don't, don't do
It's
that.
only right. It's
Don't
only
do
right.
that.
It's only right.
Don't do that. Well, speaking of which, I got my new prescription. Of course, I called Karl and we spoke through my prescription
Yeah.
and what the eye doctor
Oh
uh
my goodness. Juliet, so I'm sorry for interrupting you. Juliet calls me. She's like, Carl, we need to go over this. I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, my prescription has changed. Should I sue these people? What's going on? This doesn't make any sense. Am I losing my vision? So I think
no,
literally,
because the
mhm,
value last time was higher and this time. So I'm like, what is my vision getting better? That doesn't
yeah,
make sense.
yeah. So I mean, I think you had a quarter change in the sill, and then
A quarter change in the lawsuit is what I had.
yeah, she was ready. She was calling her lawyer. She was ready. I'm like, Juliet,
Quarter
it's
change in the lawsuit.
okay. I mean, so just to explain a little bit, like if you go get your eyes checked, there will be times that you may notice some slight changes, right, from year to year, and that's okay. Like your vision changes, it progresses. We don't want to see any drastic changes. We don't want to see any diopter changes. So that would be like a -3 to a -4 in a year. That's kind of drastic. In Juliet's case, she was, for example, let's say you were like a -3 and then it went back to like a -275. I don't know if that was exactly it, but it went back a quarter diopter. And Juliet's like, hey, like they must have got it wrong the first time because is my vision getting better or like what's going on here? And that's really not that big of a difference.
It is a big deal. It's an extremely big deal. And I
It's
tell you
not.
why. Because when I got that other prescription 2 years ago, I was like,
Mhm.
why are these glasses giving me a headache?
Yeah. So in converting, so as you're doing refractions, what you for people that do refractions, they know that like when you convert and change the cylinder values to an extent, it will adjust. You need to adjust the sphere, right?
Okay.
So sometimes, depending on how far you convert the cylinder, you would have to pull the sphere back. So you will see changes that look like your cylinder component got better. In your case, that wasn't actually what happened. I'm almost certain that like it was just dependent on the day that like you were negative 0.75 or a
All of
negative.
a sudden, the day of
Yeah.
the week and how high the sun was shining in the sky determined me being off 0.25
But
from my
I also explained to you, you could really be a 0.88, right? You understand what I'm saying? Like instead of being like a
day only
0.75
16.
or a
Okay.
1, you could be a 0.88. So you could be right in between the two. And one year
The
you
lower
chose exactly. So
I didn't choose it. They
realistically,
chose it. Don't blame this on me. They chose
no, but
this.
it's you. No, 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 no. It's actually you. Like when I'm showing you like better 1 or 2, that's what you're picking between. You choose your refraction. I'm not choosing it. Yeah, that's what they're doing. When they're showing you better 1 or better 2, they're showing you those two different options. So one day
So that's where the difference came. Oh, I
yes,
do apologize to
you see,
the
about to sue the
optometrist
whole practice. Like,
who I was ready to sue. I do take responsibility. I do apologize. Oh my goodness. So it's my fault?
I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm just saying you chose your refraction. That's how it pans out, you know? And they probably what good refractionists or optometrists will do they will compare your old prescription to the refraction that they got that day. And you chose the refraction you got that day. So you preferred the less script. You see what I'm saying? Less correction.
Okay.
So
Okay. That makes sense. Wow.
One less lawsuit to work.
At least I'm not the person who didn't keep my promise and didn't get my eyes checked. So
we gotta stop this, okay? We gotta stop this. Okay. That needs to be on your New Year's resolution, okay? Like, let go of grudges, let go and let God. All right. Like, move on. Okay.
And we still in 2023. So until then, we still in 2023. So until then. So speaking of which, we also had a new, I called y'all, it's just been an interesting month and change in the world of eyes for Dr. Juliette. So, okay. And to be fair, Karl, he is my go-to. He knows like the scientific innuendos of eye health and he can break them down for me. So I will call him first. I will call him. So I called him last week and
she's panicking once again.
Why you gotta be like that?
No, because it's the truth. Brother, there's something going on.
I did.
I'm losing my vision.
I thought I was.
Do I need to call 911?
I didn't know. So I suffer from chronic migraines. And last Thursday, I was reading something on my phone. And then all of a sudden I got this like sensation where it was kind of like almost like a zigzaggy type of thing. I guess like an illusion type of thing. And I'm trying to read through that sensation. And it went on for a little bit where I'm like, okay, I'm trying to see, but I can't see these letters and I can't read what's on the screen. And I'm trying to read the letters through this illusion. And then it stopped. And once it stopped, I had a hammering migraine. And so I'm going to pass it over to you, Karl, because it's not something that happens often, but it's happened. Yeah. And so I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable and allow us to kind of talk through that and what that also might signify or mean.
Yeah. So to start, like, after Juliette, she gained some composure, you know, and stopped crying over the phone. I had to get her to kind of explain because she was like, oh, it's like my vision's blurry. Like there's just waves and there's lines and there's hallucinations. I was like, okay, maybe she's, I don't know, maybe she's, I don't know.
I wasn't inebriated, I wasn't intoxicated.
Yeah, I had to kind of cross some things off the list first, and then I was like, okay, maybe she's actually going through something. Let's see what it is. But well, you were telling me like you were looking at your screen and you were noticing some wavy lines. So the first thing that I like clinically, what that's usually a sign of, the first thing that popped in my mind is maybe there's some issue with your retina. So with people with some retinal issues, whether it's like macular degeneration or like a retinal hole or a pucker or something of that nature, they'll notice things that are supposed to be straight, right, appear wavy. So I had her pull up an Amsler grid, which was like that like checker box grid, right? And she looked at it for me and I was like, hey, Juliette, like, can you describe those lines for me, right? She isolated eyes, she looked at it, and she was like, yeah, it's just a grid, bro. Like, what are you talking about? I was like, anything else? Like, you know, you see anything else? She's like, no, it's just some boxes. I was like, boxes with straight lines? She was like, yeah, what? And I was like, okay, good. We can cross it off the list. So that's one of the bigger things I think.
That Karl was gravely concerned.
Yeah, no, I was
calm, but I want everyone to know that my low-key, high-key, apathetic brother was extremely concerned.
I do care. Despite what it looks like, I do care. But yeah, after that, we kind of talked a little bit more. She was saying she was dealing with a headache or like her head hurt or whatever like that. And I asked her how often she dealt with it. So I mean, to me, it seemed to be that you were dealing with like ocular migraine, which I've seen a lot of times. People will come in and they'll say they deal with them a lot and they notice that they have headaches in certain areas of their head, and it's kind of like a compounding thing. Some cases it's a bigger neurological thing, but based on the symptoms you gave me, I think you were just an ocular migraine. So good news. It could have been worse. If you do notice it happen more often, more frequently, and like longer, it's even worse. Are you like noticing like blurrier vision, things of that nature?
I will be taking that to my eye doctor.
Yes,
And
yes,
hopefully by the time I need to go to an eye doctor, I can be like, I'm here for Dr. Karl Florestal.
yeah,
I'm here to see my doctor brother. No,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm here to see my doctor brother. Let him know it's his sister.
No, you don't have to ask. You just walk to the office. Juliette's just gonna knock on my door. Hey, listen, I'm noticing a freckle on this eye. Like, okay, all right.
Oh
Um,
my goodness. But yeah, so that was my experience having an ocular migraine. And again, when we have these, at least these experiences or these topics come up, we're always looking at, who we can also bring on the podcast to kind of give
yeah,
us some more insight. Hopefully I don't have to experience it again. I wouldn't be surprised if I did.
yeah,
Uh, but thank you, brother,
yeah.
for coming to my rescue.
And another thing, like, and I explained this to you as well, like when you're dealing with these things that you potentially want to bring up to your doctor at some point in the appointment,
Yeah.
like be mindful of what's happening. Like I told you, hey Juliet, if you notice again, what are you gonna do? Right? Look at the grid again, right?
Right.
Isolate an eye. See if it's just one eye, if it's both eyes, see what's going on, right? Because a lot of times people go into the clinic and they're like, yeah, my vision was blurry. And it's like, there's a lot of things that can cause blurry vision.
Right.
If you notice what else was happening to you while that was happening, if you notice how long it lasted, if you can describe the pain, if you can, you know what I'm saying, as descriptive as you can be, you can help the doctor put the pieces together
Right.
because they're at the mercy of the information you provide. So if you're
Right.
just gonna come in and say, hey, my vision's blurry,
They
we're
don't know
gonna
what
have
to do with
to
it.
we're gonna have to start from square one and we're just gonna be
Right.
crossing things off the list. Like so.
Right. And I
Yeah.
think I know, again, I mentioned that I deal with chronic migraines. And so I know one thing that has been extremely important in really trying to identify what caused a migraine or trying to isolate it is logging everything, right? To your point. Is there anything you ate? Is there anything you drank? Were there any strenuous activities that you
Mhm.
got into? Was the weather different from yesterday? What kind of weather? So for some people, it can be rain, it can be travel, it can be like a wide range of things. So I think that is something also to keep in mind, tracking what your vision looks like, isolating one eye versus the other eye to see if there are any changes in your vision. And that's something I'm definitely going to keep in mind. And speaking of headaches, that segues us into our last topic of discussion of in the month of November, we have, I believe it's Stress Awareness Week.
Yep.
And of course, it's not specific to eye stress, but I think that's something that's important for us to discuss and speak about because stress does impact the eye. And so I want to pass it over to you, Karl, to kind of speak about what that phenomenon is like, right? What that response is and what that looks like when it comes to our eyes.
Yeah. So, I mean, stress can manifest in people differently, right? So, depending on how your body reacts to it, how you react to it, how you manage it, right? Stress is overstimulation of your brain, right? Like you're overwhelmed, you may be anxious. There's a lot of different ways that people can be exposed to stress, right? So, these are things that like will affect people differently, but also it's important to be mindful of like how you manage stress and how notice how you like when you're stressed so that you can help manage that and alleviate like the symptoms. But something that I was reading that was interesting, it was released by the American Institute of Stress, and they were talking about its relationship to our eyes, right? So when people are stressed, generally our bodies release adrenaline, right? That's kind of like a part of that fight or flight response, right? Like, oh, we're stressed and that adrenaline is released, it's hitting your brain, right? Those hormones are there, right? A response to stress and that adrenaline is a dilation of your pupil, right? So when you're stressed, because your body recognizes that you might be in a fight or flight situation, right? You're in a fight environment, right? Your brain, this automatic response is like, okay, we need to increase our awareness, right? So in increasing our awareness, we are dilating our pupils, enlarging them to open up that aperture to allow more light to come in. So we want to heighten our senses essentially, right? So that we're seeing more things, we're processing more things, we can handle the situation, right? In that environment, what may happen is if you're stressed for an extended period of time, your pupil will then be dilated for an extended period of time, thus allowing an enormous amount of light to enter into your eye and hit your retina. This can then lead to your light sensitivity as you've just been overexposed to light. So similar to something Juliette said, right? Like when she has her headaches, or I don't know if she was stressed at the time, but when people have headaches, a lot of the time they're dealing with like swelling and inflammation in portions of their brain, but they're also dealing with light sensitivity as well, right? So you want to get into a dark room, kind of help alleviate that. So that's something that I thought was extremely interesting. I don't think people always correlate that. Like, hey, if I'm stressed, I might be exposing my eyes to extreme levels of light, and if it's for an extended period of time, it's extreme light sensitivity. So
right. So let me ask you this question then, because we do have how stress impacts the eyes. But I also want to ask, are there any ways that we actually apply stress to our eyes? And what does that look like?
yeah, so I mean, there's like we talk about this all the time with our blue light blocking glasses, right? There's eye strain, right? There's like don't look at the sun, right? That's one, right? There's like how long are you staring at your screen? Make sure you're protecting your eyes. Make sure you're sleeping enough, right? People don't like that's time for your eyes to be shut off, right? And I mean, I was talking to a doctor, which is something that I think is kind of interesting. An ophthalmologist, he was saying that, and the research hasn't been conducted on this yet, but when we sleep, our eyes roll around in our sockets, right? It's like REM sleep, right? Like, and that's known. Like, your eyes will roll around.
Right.
His thought process on this is that that's the body's way of allowing those oils that are being secreted on the glands on your eyelids to spread all across the eye, right? To kind of help replenish it so that when you wake up the next day, right, you're nice and ready to go. And that's why a lot of the time you wake up and there's that crust in the corner of your eye, is because your body is working to kind of reset the machine, right? It's like doing an oil change. You see what I'm saying? It's like we're trying to make sure we're ready to go. So sleep is important. Make sure you're getting your sleep, because it doesn't matter how many eye drops you use. It doesn't matter how often you wear your blue light blocking glasses. If you're only getting 2 hours of sleep, your eyes are going to be tired, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I think those are definitely the biggest things that people do to induce stress on their eyes. And something that I tell patients all the time is listen to your eyes. Okay. They're talking to you. If you feel like, hey, I've had these contacts in and I don't know why my eyes are irritated, how about take the contacts out? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay if you got to throw on your
listen
glasses.
to your body.
Yeah, no, but essentially, yeah. So I think people a lot of times they kind of combat their eyes and they don't think that like things are correlated or this is why this is happening. But it's like, hey, listen to your eyes, right? If it's stinging, if it's burning, if it's itching, okay, there may be something going on. Listen to your eyes. So,
and I know we spoke about you failing to get your eyes checked.
Yeah.
But since I'm the one who actually has a prescription, I think it's also helpful to, and I would love for you to expand on that. What happens, for example, and I've done it before. I hate to say, I said it before. I think the longest I've gone was like 6-7 years without getting my eyes checked.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, and this was prior to Nuri Lens. I know better now, but 6-7 years. And I know I'm not alone in that, right? Some people who don't have the time, or again, as we mentioned in part one, not having the resources, et cetera, et cetera. What is that impact on the eyes when, for example, you wear a prescription or you need a prescription and you're not wearing one? Or perhaps maybe you're wearing reading glasses, but you actually need prescription glasses.
Mhm.
And you're going without having a prescription that's really conducive to your vision needs. Is there any impact or any stress that is placed on the eye? And how does that impact the eye in the long term? The
Yeah.
eyes in the long term.
So to explain it thoroughly, right? Your prescription is a result of the curvature of your cornea, right, as well as your lens, the natural lens in your eye, right? So the shape
Right.
of your eye is the
Right.
prescription is written based on the shape of your eye. Sorry.
Right.
So if there are changes in your eye, right, or your prescription, your changes in your eye progressing in certain ways, like it's getting steeper at the cornea, or the lens isn't as flexible as malleable as it once was, you now need an updated prescription, right? So in the case where you're not getting an updated prescription, you're forcing your eye to do more work than it may need to do, right? So you're forcing that lens to stretch or bend when it might not necessarily need to. And what I've seen a lot of times in clinic is that people will come in after, let's say, 4 or 5 years of not getting their prescription updated, right? And when you give them a corrected prescription, like an updated prescription to their eye, they don't even like it in comparison to their old script.
Yep.
Right.
And I understand that experience.
Yeah, sometimes it's just like they need time to adjust, right? And maybe it's like a week or two, but
Things are
sometimes
too clear.
it's just like they're so used to that old script that their eyes are kind of fixated to it, because it's not just an eye thing, right? Because your eyes obtain the vision, but your brain has to process it, right? So you are now fixating your brain to process vision at a certain point, even though it should be corrected higher, right? And a lot of times, even what you'll see with people, like, what you'll see is sometimes people don't even realize how bad their vision is, right? Like you've become so accustomed to it, and as time progresses and your vision worsens, if it happens gradually, you might not even realize. Like, I've seen people put glasses on and they're like, oh my goodness, the colors are so bright and the letters are so crisp, and it's like, this is insane. And it's like, yeah, like this is how you should have been seeing this whole time. So to answer,
I remember, sorry to cut you off, but I remember getting an eye exam, and this is when I lived in Korea. And the lenses were perfect. But it was to the point that like everything felt like I had a magnifying glass on. So for me to like walk down the stairs, I'm like literally clenching the handrails because I'm like, okay, I'm afraid to fall because everything is just too clear. But it's to your point of having spent so much time not getting my eyes checked.
And I'm gonna tell a story. It's Regina's story. My sister Regina. She's
hey Regina, she's on
here to be like, I did not give you permission to say that, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. I remember growing up, right? I always had pretty good vision, right? I say that all the time, you guys know. So I always had pretty good vision. Regina would always be complaining about, like, even into like teenage years, she'd always be complaining, like, guys, I think I need glasses, I think I need glasses. My parents, being from the islands, they're like, no, you're good, right? And I'm like, okay, like I'm seeing this. I'm like, Regina, you probably don't really need glasses. You're okay. And she's like, no, I really can't see. Like, I need glasses. I need glasses. I need glasses. When she finally got glasses, Juliette, she was telling me the things that she could see. And she could now see, like we'd be driving, right? And she'd be like, wow, I can see that sun over there. And me with no glasses, I'm like, wait, so you wouldn't be able to see that before? She was a liability, Juliette. Like, that's crazy. So
didn't even have it on her license. Did they make her do the test?
I don't know how she passed. I don't know how she passed. She
probably stepped in front of the line.
Listen, she found a way. She found a way. She got through that. But that's another point where it's like, yo, get your vision checked. You might not even realize what you could be seeing. And I mean, she was complaining, but then like when she finally got her glasses, she was like, no, this is crazy. I can see the lines in the leaves. I was like, you weren't able to see that before? The leaf is right here. What do you mean?
Yep.
You
And
know,
that's
so
what happens. I know it was 2020, because again, when I came back from South Korea, I got my eyes checked, but I was trying to work the system. So I just found ways to slip in that, like that 2-year threshold. And I was just getting lens replacements and working the system until I actually was like, okay, my eyes are burning at night. I'm having trouble sleeping. Let me get this addressed. And I remember saying, oh no, I just want a lens replacement. And the doctor said, Juliette, do you see this? And the same way you showed, like, which one of these lenses works better. And I was like, no, I can't see in this. I can't see a thing in this. And the doctor said, this is what you've been driving around with. You've literally been driving around blind.
yeah.
And I'm like, this can't be. These are the glasses that I wear. And he said, yes. And you have to throw them all away. And I said, no, I can do a lens replacement. He said, throw them all away. Because it was literally that bad. I was not able to see anything. And I was wearing prescription glasses. All to say, again, that going back to Stress Awareness Week, really that strain that goes on our eyes when we're not getting our eyes checked. But now I am part of that honorary group. Y'all, I'm talking all this trash to Karl, but come and find me next year around this time.
Yeah, 2 years in a row. Let me see. Let's see if you can make a streak out of it.
But that's the thing. I did the year to year, and then I was like, maybe I should just do it every 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you're going.
I'm going to make sure I go. I'm going to make sure I go to ensure that I'm good and that these ocular migraines are not coming back. So anyway, thank you guys for hanging with us again for the past 3 years and for the past 2 seasons. We promise that we will do our very best to ensure that we're more consistent, pushing out episodes for season 3, that we can bring on some guests, some more guests for season 3. And we really hope that you'll stay and hang with us. If you have any questions, any eye health topics that you would love for us to discuss, feel free to send us a message, hashtag us, drop a comment. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you get notifications every time a new episode comes out. And I know we haven't done this in a couple of episodes. This is Karl's favorite segment.
Oh my goodness.
Every episode. So
I was so excited that you forgot. I was like, she's closing the episode. I made it out without having to hear this nonsense. All right, here we go.
It wouldn't be year 3. It wouldn't be season 3. What, Karl, I need you to look. See, here's the thing. At the least, you should look excited, because you would keep your promise. I'm gonna need you to look real excited.
Okay, all right. I'm ready.
I should have made you read the joke.
I'm excited. You should have made me read the joke. No one would have laughed.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Why do beekeepers have such beautiful eyes?
Wait, give me a second. Why do beekeepers have such beautiful eyes? I feel like I should be able to get this. Bees, honey, pupil, iris, eye, cornea, retina. I'm trying to find a pun here. Say that again? What'd you say? Why do beekeepers sting?
Have such beautiful. You talk about why they sting. Why do beekeepers have such beautiful eyes?
I don't know. Why?
Because beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
All right.
You get it? The beholder. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Karl, you could at least. Oh, that was so good. I'm gonna pat myself on the back. That was a good one.
That was horrible. That really didn't even have anything to do with eyes.
Huh? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That was great. That was actually good. That was good. That was really good. You really not gonna laugh. I'm literally like
That
here.
wasn't good. That wasn't good.
That was so
No,
good.
I'm not trying to hear that.
That was so good. Oh my gosh, that was great. Well, thank you everyone again for rocking with us. Remember, beauty is in the eye of the bee. That was so good. Are you laughing because I'm laughing?
Yes, I'm laughing at you.
Oh, that was so great. That was so great. All right, y'all. Have an amazing month of November. For those who celebrate, happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays. Juliette signing out.
Bye. Thank you again for hanging out with us at the Visionary Podcast. We hope that you receive valuable insight that will encourage you to make better decisions about your eye health. Anything we've discussed in this episode should not be taken as medical advice. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to your doctor.
If you like what you've heard, feel free to subscribe to our channel or platform wherever you're tuning in. We'd love for you to chime in the comments or leave us a review with your feedback. Also, visit our website at www.nurilens.co for your next pair of frames.
We offer non-prescription and prescription options with different features to fit your style and vision needs. Use our try-on feature to ensure the perfect fit. Enjoy 20% off your purchase with the code VISIONARY20 today.
Remember to see through the lens of your purpose. We look forward to chatting with you next time.